take him.
Nah, you can't. I mean, you're just gonna try to buy him for cheap because you're like, oh, look at his red games.
Yeah. I mean, like, I got Tobias Harris, Zion, Valanciunas, Donovan Mitchell, with supporting roles, Drew Holiday, Conley, Porter, Williams, and Gar.
What'd you say?
Nothing. It's like,
Brendan FaceTime me. I couldn't hear anything.
Bro.
Yo, KJ, are we doing it or not?
Yeah, I just started. I gotta upload the thumbnail.
Man, I love my team.
Kevin Porter's really predicted. I'm predicted 190, and Kevin Porter's predicted 10.
Yeah, that's what he's gonna get every week.
Adam Jacobs said shut the fuck up.
Yeah, Jacobs is mad he got scammed. Like, no one can, bro, you can't say Jacob didn't get scammed. Like,
He didn't.
Jacob has no one now. His best player is Chris Paul. Yo, that's actually bad.
Actually, it's Donovan Mitchell. Oh wait, they doesn't have him anymore. Never mind. Actually, it's
They traded Cat and Donovan Mitchell in the same trade.
probably Jeremy Grant.
Yeah, that's bad.
Jeremy Grant's
That's really bad.
Disrespect.
Nah, that's horrendous. That's bad.
Jeremy Grant's a demon.
I mean, I can only see myself trading Conley and Garland away. If you're interested in that, hit me up.
From Marcus Smart.
But I don't even, bro, like, Garland's tough. Like, y'all just, like, Garland, it would be consistently good if he consistently shot well.
He'd be consistently good if Colin Sexton died.
It's just because he takes bad shots. Nah. He gets the same, bro, he took the same amount of shots when Colin Sexton wasn't there. Yes, he took less.
I'm not gonna lie, you need to shut the fuck up. Alright. We're about to get this jump started. 1 more seconds.
Come on, KJ. Bro, like, I don't have that long. I have, like, probably 50 minutes. That's what I'm saying. Jeremy Grant's the GOAT.
He is going to.
Yeah, Dennis Smith is the GOAT, so.
Let's get it.
I'm actually so mad. Anthony Davis is so annoying.
Anthony Davis is goated.
He is goated IRL, but his bitch ass is always hurt. He carries LeBron. The Lakers were negative when Anthony Davis wasn't playing. Nah, LeBron just got exposed. Thought Anthony Davis, they suck. Well, they wouldn't. Anthony Davis would drop 50 a night.
Anthony Davis.
That was in the beginning of his career.
Suck my nuts.
Nah, that was when he was with the Pelicans. Yeah, because they had DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins was good. I miss prime DeMarcus Cousins. Prime Boogie and Anthony Davis was such a tough front court. It was actually crazy.
Do you think they could have beat Golden State that year?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think they had a chance. But like they were pretty tough. Like Western Conference, like borderline conference final stuff.
Who's our point guard? I forget. Oh, that team was tough.
Bro, that was like the goated playoff Rondo. What's up, Meg?
Alright, but like, tell me why the Bulls are actually tough now. They also got a good ass depth. Yeah, for the Heat, like, oh, we Bamith Adebayo. Honestly, the East is going to be such a tough conference. Like, obviously, I think the Nets still come out, but like the Nets, the Heat, the Bucks, the Sixers. Maybe the Sixers, but I don't really see how they.
Do you think Oladipo is gonna be good now that he's on Heat, or like do you think like that pushes the needle that they can be like championship
Depends
contenders?
on his role. If he starts, I think he gets worse. But like off the bench, he could be so good.
Well, haven't they had Tyler Hero off the bench for a little part too?
He's been off the bench. I think. I think
That
Oladipo and
Opala
Tyler
guy,
Hero off the bench is
the
just
Opala
insane.
kid is pretty solid. I see, he's been like a decent role player for them this year. I don't know if the numbers back that up, but I mean he's been getting really valuable minutes. Yeah. I mean, I didn't think they needed Kelly Olynyk anyways. He hasn't been that impressive. I mean, if he's not hitting his shots, he's not really doing much. So that is true. Ugh. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pull up every trade that went down, or whatever trades that I can find that went down yesterday, and we're basically just going to kind of go down one by one with those. So give me 1 second.
Hey, would you see the Dolphins traded their number 3 pick to the 49ers?
uh, mm-mm. All right. Let's see.
Who?
Every NBA trade.
For 4? What? What?
I'm not gonna lie, Jacob. You got scammed last night. You suck.
Oh. I remember that draft video of him with the bong. Shit was so funny.
Let's see.
He's actually good though.
NBA. Let's see if this website has all the trades. Like, I want to get into like the smaller trades. So I hope they don't have like just the specific like the Dolan right for Corey Joseph one. Like they gotta have some shit. They better have every single thing in here. Oh, they do. They do. For the most part, I think.
Daniel Tice won't make the Bulls debut.
Okay, we're chilling. Yeah, they have every for the most part. Okay, I think they have every
He's
trade
such a
right
good
here on the
quality
website.
like backup center. That's gonna be so
He
tough.
is. The Bulls needed that too. I don't really know how good defensively that's going to change anything, but he's still a good center.
He was good. He was a good starting center. Or he was fine. Kind of hard to like put up good numbers when you're with Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kemba, and Marcus Smart in front of you.
But like, I understand that his role is completely overshadowed by Boston's struggles this year. But like, at the end of the day, with how elite the like kind of forwards or I'd probably say big man, honestly, in the East, I just don't believe that Tice is gonna change anything. And same with Vucevic, but I do think the Bulls got better regardless, so it doesn't really matter.
I don't understand the Tice for Mo Wagner trade. That just made no sense unless it was like shed salary. But that just made no sense.
No, yeah, I kind of actually said the same thing. Celtics just had to make a splash in free agency. I don't really think um that getting Fournier is gonna really change much, but like I can at least understand them.
I mean, that's what they need off the bench. They don't have. I think Robert Williams was the biggest spark off the bench.
He really was. All right, so let's just kind of kick right into this. What's going on, guys? NBA Shot Callers Podcast. We are live right now. I'm just going to be doing a My League series while we're doing this because, once again, I do not have the proper equipment to stream other than on PS4. But don't worry, that will change as soon as I get back from boot camp. Which will be in mid-July. We'll be able to have a better stream than this. But for the meantime, you guys are just going to watch me playing My League because fuck it. We're joined by Dylan and Jacob, and literally we're just going to be discussing all the trades that went down yesterday and the day before, the big ones, the small ones, and we're going to be just discussing the ramifications for each player / team that was involved and what we kind of think what happened. Now, we might have a special guest. His name's Wavy Adu. So stay tuned for that if you guys want to have some enjoyment and laughter. He might pop out on the stream. But yeah, facts. Doom is just so goated. Okay, so
We could use a skip Bayless.
Yeah, we really could.
To draw in more
Use
views.
pre-built. We're going with the Baltimore Band. All right, so I'm just gonna be like a moderator, I guess. I think that's what we're gonna stick with, and then you guys can kind of give your takes first, and then I'll go after. And so the first trade we have on this website. Let's see. All right, so the Oladipo trade. What the heck is that buzzing? That Oladipo trade. So basically, the Heat get Victor Oladipo from the Rockets, and they send Kelly Olynyk, Avery Bradley, and a pick swap. So, Dylan, you can go first. What you think, kind of, on that?
I'm just honestly surprised. Like, I don't know why the Rockets settled for that. I mean, there's no way they just didn't get a better offer than Avery Bradley and Kelly Olynyk, but maybe just nobody wanted to take on his salary. Nobody wanted to try to bring him back next year, and it's the only trade they had. I don't know. I think it makes the Heat obviously way better. Easily contenders again, just like last year, in my opinion. I mean, when you have an offense that consists of, I mean, they're going to start none, hopefully still. It's going to be none. Yeah, actually, they might play small ball. I actually don't know what their starting lineup's going to be. I'm kind of interested. Like, they could play Oladipo at the 2, or they can have him off the bench.
What do you think, Jacob? Honestly, I think honestly, if you were to kind of, give me 1 second here. So, the reason why I don't think there was too many offers on the table is just because he's such a wild card in free agency. Like, we have no idea where he wants to sign, and I promise you, like the typical media, like as soon as free agent comes out, it'll be the Lakers trying to get him. The Knicks are gonna try and get, like, it's always gonna be those big market teams that are gonna be like, yo, imagine if they get this. And so, I mean, I see a scenario where he kind of goes to a bigger market team. Well, I'm not sure if that's the Lakers and Knicks, but I can see that. But if you ask me why I believe that there was not a better offer on the table, and that's kind of what they had to go with. That's why. Just because, I mean, for all we know, he's just like half a year rental for a team. Next thing you know, he's gone and out the door. And I also think people knew that he was 1 foot out the door in Houston. So no matter what, it was either they have to get something or they're getting nothing. And I think that lowered his trade value as is. And I'm also going to attribute to the fact that I mean, if you really just look into it, and like he just wasn't impressive. He's shooting like 40% from the field, like 30 some percent from three. Like he hasn't been very good for Houston this season. And I mean, I understand. I mean, shit, you're on a 20-game win streak. You're demoralized. I think that's why Blake Griffin, although for fantasy purposes, isn't going to be that good anyways. But I do think he's going to have a resurgence in his career as a better, like as a solid role player for the Nets. Just because there's really a difference playing for a championship contender when you have something to play for and playing in Detroit under a fucking team that's like what gonna win and be like the 12th seed. Like that's just kind of my thing. If I were the Heat, I would certainly try and resign them because I don't think at this point that they need to shop Tyler Hero. I don't think that's a scenario that's gonna happen. But I definitely know there's a lot of NBA and Heat fans that think that like, okay, why don't you trade Tyler Hero and like a pick and try and get a like a borderline all-star player. And in my opinion, I just think that's a dumb idea because right now they have a good enough team to win this chip. And because there's no longer there's no Golden State team. I think the Clippers are beatable. I think the Lakers are beatable. I think the Nets are the best team because the Lakers are injured right now. But I don't think they're unbeatable. Well, actually, shit. Now I think about it, yeah. So like they have plans set for the future. Mm-hmm. Damn, that's kind of a tough one. Do you
Yeah,
guys
and
think the Nets
with
are the
that,
favorites?
yeah, 100%. Also with the trade, like if if the Heat had given up like a Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, or any of their valuable players, you'd have to assume that they'd try to bring back Oladipo. But just being that they gave up like two of their like not so good players, we really don't know if they're gonna bring them back next year. Because like they don't lose anything. Worst case, they don't re-sign them. They just lost Avery Bradley, who barely even played for them, and Kelly Olynyk, who's just really not that good anyways. So
Yeah.
who knows? He could still be a free agent next year. We just don't know.
No, yeah, I think so too. If you had to give a grade for each team, what would it be? Or like, what would you give the Heat and the Rockets for the specific trade? F through A.
I mean, if you're giving the Heat a grade, I mean, it's got to be an A. Like they literally just got an all-star caliber player. Obviously, he wasn't an all-star, but I think he once was. He still is pretty good. I mean, he's not what he used to be, but they basically got him for free. And then the Rockets, I mean, they're just trying to clean house. I think at this point they're probably just trying to restart. It's unclear what they're trying to do, honestly. But I'd probably give them like a D because I just don't know what they're doing.
What about you, Jacob? Mm. Oh, I gotta fix something. All right, there we go. So, if now I understand that once again, this is our first podcast for people who are watching this, I guess, with Dylan and Jacob. So there might be some talking over for a little bit. And like I said, once we get the chemistry down and future podcasts, it'll definitely be a lot better. So thanks for the people that are that are in here, staying tuned and shit like that. I appreciate that. But with that said, if I were to grade, the reason why I wouldn't give them an A, Dylan, is just because at the end of the day, um, not that I think that pick swap is super valuable, but just well, I mean, here, if the pick swap is in the future, then maybe it'll be different. They said the stream says they can't hear you, Jacob.
I think they're trolling. I think they're trolling.
Is your thing? Is your I mean, if they're showing, then never mind. But are your settings turned on? Weird. There's no way. Hold on. Oh my. I mean, my audio share settings are on properly. They're actually saying they can't hear you.
Jacob said his voice is shared.
Good check, Jay Blake. Yo, I Clank. You're about to see some. You're about to see exactly what you're missing in current gen. How comp I am in the rec center. But anyways, if I had to give
that
it.
works now.
Oh wait. All right. Let me know if you guys can hear him now. He just changed something. Basically, though, I would only give him a B. Just get back to what I was saying. I would give them a B just because if Oladipo doesn't sign there, or maybe like a B plus. Because if Oladipo doesn't sign there, he said I can hear him. Okay, bet. Let's go. They can hear Jay play. Let's go. Okay, so like I said, I give him a B plus just because if they don't re-sign him, I'm not sure if that was really worth it. Now I understand Kelly Olynyk really wasn't that good. Avery Bradley is just a role-playing vet who's kind of good for the locker room at this point. But at the end of the day, like he's still a valuable piece to any sort of team. Kelly Olynyk wasn't impressive, but I think something that was going under the radar was he was just kind of a buy that you could switch 4 through 5. And you understand he's a kind of a slow-footed big man who can stretch the floor, obviously. But I think losing that body, because it's not like they have Myers Leonard either, and we all know about that situation. Oh my gosh, that's so unfortunate. But yeah, I do understand kind of what you're trying to say. Now, the only reason why I also am not sure, even if they do re-sign him, is just because I feel like they might end up overpaying for Oladipo. And as much as I believe, and I think a lot of people do believe that Oladipo can get back to that Indiana kind of form like 2-3 years ago, the reality is that he just wasn't that good this year, or at least statistically wasn't that good, efficiency-wise wasn't that good. And I'm not sure if I want to be the team that offers him 20 to 25 mil a year. Now, like I said, I believe in him, so maybe I would offer him 18 to 20 mil a year, but that's just kind of, I just want to be surprised if that was a scenario. And then for the, what's their name? For the Rockets, I give him like a D plus, C minus, just because I think if you traded Oladipo earlier in the season, like right after you had acquired him, things would be different. You would have definitely got a better offers from him. And they tried to hold on to him, and it just was a shit fire at that point. So that's my opinion. We're gonna go to the next trade on this website. So let's see. It says the Mavericks acquired J.J. Redick and Nico Melli from the Pelicans for Johnson. Who's that? James Johnson, right? Yeah, James Johnson, Owindu. Oh my god, I keep forgetting that Owindu guy's first name. It's so weird. But James Johnson, Owindu, cash, and a pick. The pick. It says a 2021 second-round pick will be heading to New Orleans. So, I'll let you go first there, Jacob.
I think for the Mavericks, getting J.J. Redick and Nico Melli, they're both great shooters, and to have them around Luka will just make their team better. And James Johnson's and Owindu weren't really big pieces on our team anyways.
Yeah.
And for the Pelicans, they're just getting rid of Redick's contract and bring up more cash, and also James Johnson, I guess he's a good guy to have in your locker room or something.
Yeah. What about you, Dylan?
Pretty much the same things that Jacob just said. I mean, the Mavericks acquiring another, not really ball handler, but just another shooter around Luka. We know that they're kind of short on ball handlers. It's just nice to have more shooters. You can never have too many shooters.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with Luka, who's a high IQ, like fundamental player who can kick out whenever he wants. If you can just have knockdown shooters around him, that offense can be deadly. And then for the Pelicans, yeah, they're just clearing out room, getting rid of people's contracts, because he didn't really do much for the Pelicans. I mean, they're probably trying to develop Nickeil Alexander-Walker, maybe a little bit of Josh Hart in there too. Just bring up more minutes for those two, maybe seeing what they have for the long run, because J.J. Redick was probably not in their long-term plans.
Mm-hmm. I think trading, like you said, in this league, it seems like overpaying for shooters nowadays is the biggest thing. I'm lagging, shoot. I think overpaying for shooters is the biggest thing, and which is why I think someone like Joe Harris got overpaid. Even though Joe Harris, I actually think was worth it. Why Davis Bertans got overpaid, and as of right now, he technically has shown that he's been a little bit overpaid, even though I, at the time, thought it was completely justifiable based off of the production that he showed and what the potential he could do in the future. And so I do think James Johnson was just kind of a salary match based off JJ Redick's contract. And the thing that completely went under the radar is even though Dallas has actually picked it up, and I think they're in the 8th seed. Last time I checked the standing was like a week or two ago. But when I checked, they were the 8th seed. I think they're going to make the playoffs just because there's no way Luka and a healthy KP isn't talented enough to make the playoffs. I don't care if you're in the West. There's just no way. But
they're the 7th seed right now.
they are okay. And so when I saw it, I was just like, okay, hold on. Because you remember when they traded Seth Curry for Josh Richardson, and everyone looked at it both ones just because if Josh Richardson is hitting his shots, he's basically the defensive version, and like basically a 3-and-D player, but like the defense first and then the 3 second. I think that was the biggest thing. And oh my god, these kids are ass. And that was my biggest kind of concern because I actually at the time, I don't know, I was on the side where I was on the same thing. It's just like, okay, you lose Seth Curry, but if what's his face is hitting his shots properly, then it is a win. And I just think they did not have that consistent shooting, which was the biggest kind of disappointment from that trade. And I think I think JJ Redick is going to immensely benefit from that trade. And I don't know. And Nico Melli is secretly underrated. Now, I don't think he's like a star or anything. I'm not saying he's some special role player. But a dude that you can throw out 20 minutes a game, and I think his ball handling for his position is super underrated. I'm not saying he's a primary. I'm not even sure if I would warrant him as a secondary ball handler, but when you're in with a bench unit, it seems like a lot of times that with a bench unit, he's not a bad secondary ball handler to have, especially at the forward spot. And, he's not going to play make for you or too much, but I'm just saying ball handling wise, he's shown flashes of that at times. And I just think he's just a good throwing piece with that trade, and he can still shoot the ball, obviously, which is another key part.
He's also just a big man. He's got size and can shoot, which is like the most valuable thing in the NBA. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure his contract's pretty good too. Like it's not expensive whatsoever, so it ends up being a really good win-win for them. And for the Pelican side, honestly, I don't like this trade that much for them, to be quite honest. Just because I understand that they're selling at this point. Oh, shit, I did not mean to click that. I understand that they're selling at this point. But I'm really just not sure that... I mean, unless you believe that a Windu's potential is going to be that good, which I am not on that side. I don't know. That's just kind of my thing. I don't think a Windu's potential is really that good. Now, they did get the the second round pick, which could have turned something, honestly. And it's got cash, I guess, which, I mean, it's cool you got cash. Like, congratulations, you got cash. Like, it's not really that important. I just think that if they can turn that second round pick into something valuable, then we're talking. But I just don't really like a Windu potential-wise moving forward. Now, he does fit the timeline, and I do think he has value as a role player for the future. I'm just talking as of right now. I'm not sure if I just like I'm just not in love with him is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah, with the trade deadline, I really wanted to see the Pelicans move on from Eric Bledsoe. I wanted to see them move forward with Lonzo, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Josh Hart. That would have been nice to see that they were just going for the future, but maybe just nobody wanted Bledsoe. I mean, he's obviously not good. I think the minutes he gets are just not good minutes. He's getting like 25, 30 minutes a night, and he's just really not that good. I'd much rather watch Josh Hart and Nickeil Alexander-Walker maybe split it like 12 and 12, plus whatever else they're getting, just to see how good they are. I think I'm a big fan of Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and Josh Hart's also pretty underrated in terms of, like, he's just a big guard who can shoot at times. He's had stretches where he can shoot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of those two. I don't really like Eric Bledsoe at this point in his career.
And while we're on the Pelicans, I don't like all those discussions about trading Lonzo and you don't trade him. Like, because Lonzo's gonna get once he gets the chance to leave New Orleans, he's taking that chance because he doesn't like it there. So that's why I wish they got something for Lonzo by trading him, but.
Maybe they expect to just match whatever he gets in free agency or overpay for him because they obviously think he's good if they didn't want to give up on him quite yet.
Yeah. I mean, he showed it too.
Maybe they just think the money is going to keep him there, but I mean, I'm not sure.
He's going to get $20 million from a team like the Knicks or something, and in free agency, and then they'll have the decision to match it or not. Which I mean, I don't. If he doesn't want to be there, I wouldn't match it. But
I think honestly, I think the mismanagement. Now I understand JJ Redick really was not hitting shots this year, so I kind of understand that. I just think the mismanagement of JJ Redick this year kind of botched them a little bit this season. Now, what I mean by that is like JJ Redick is so valuable around this league. Like I'm not saying they could have got a first round pick, and I'm not saying they could have really gotten a better trade scenario out of this, but I definitely know for a fact that if they were a better team and were able to use JJ Redick a little bit better, in my opinion, I think they could have at least pulled off something a little bit better than this. Not saying, like, once again, that this is terrible or anything, because I understand his age. I understand that at the end of the day, regardless of the situation, if you're not hitting shots, especially as a shooter, and that's the only thing that you provide, then your value is going to be way lowered. I also think that I'm also just basically confused on if you're going to move on from the veterans on your team, why the hell would you not trade Eric Bledsoe? Because I thought it was complete BS. And I can ask you guys this too when I'm done. But I think it's complete BS that how Eric Bledsoe was never rumored, especially at the beginning of the year, to be involved in trades or anything like that. Maybe he was, and I'm just like sweeping under the rug. But I just think it's really weird how Lonzo was involved in more trade talks than Bledsoe. When Bledsoe doesn't fit the timeline with Zion and Ingram like Lonzo does. When Bledsoe is proven to be just overrated, in my opinion.
He also has a bad contract as well.
Yeah, his contract's not good.
No one wants to take his contract. It's the same thing with Steven Adams, who... if they were going to trade Lonzo, they would have had to attach on either Bledsoe or Adams, or they wanted to attach either of them on, and no one was willing to take those guys. So.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I was hoping he was going to go to Chicago just because that fit was going to be so good. If they got Vucevic too, I thought that fit would be amazing. Jeez, they're hitting straight.
Yeah, if the Bulls got Lonzo, that would have just been a perfect deadline for them. But they still had a really good trade deadline.
Yeah. What else? So, I think if I were to grade these trades, I would give the Pelicans either like a C plus to B minus, and for the Mavericks, I would honestly give them an A, just because. Does anyone remember now? Because like I said, I'm not looking up the contracts right now and the salary stuff for teams and players, just because I'm on this website trying to look at the trades. Does anyone know if JJ Redick's is expiring this year? I'm pretty sure it is, right? Or does he have another year?
Yeah. He's expiring this year.
Okay, so yeah, I would definitely give him an A, just because they're kind of getting back to those give me the shooters, space out, and let Luka and Porzingis do their thing. And then with that said, I don't really see, because the Pelicans already don't have enough shooting. It seems like as is, and maybe it's just because from their backcourt and frontcourt, it just seems like it isn't going to work. But why give up the rest of your shooters if you already sort of need more shooters? That's kind of my thing. And like I said, I just don't think a window is... Can you guys stop timing out Charlie, please? Jesus Christ. But I just don't think a window is just like that talented enough to just be like... Yeah, that's just kind of my thing.
I don't think he really means anything to the Pelicans. I mean,
yeah.
I guess they can try and develop him into something.
And then because James Johnson is an expiring contract as well. And I actually thought if they were going to trade James Johnson, they were going to get something a little bit more valuable, because James Johnson expiring was actually kind of valuable this season. I thought he was going to get a bigger splash and get more recognition than it did. But at the end of the day, I do think Melly and JJ Redick will fit really well with the team, considering they had Seth Curry, and we know what we saw from him last year.
Yeah. For the one move that the Mavericks did, I'd probably give it an A, just because they don't lose anything and they just get shooting, which is what they needed more of.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. For the Pelicans, I mean, you kind of brought this up, Kyler. They don't really have any, like, none of their guards are necessarily known for shooting anymore. Like, they got rid of their best shooter. Like, Lonzo, he's had streaks where he's been a great three-point shooter. He's also had streaks where he's been terrible. Especially this year, we've seen that. But yeah, Bledsoe's not a great shooter. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I mean, it's too small of a sample size. I mean, he's all right. He's shown to be all right, but we don't know if that's sustainable.
Yeah.
Josh Hart's an all right shooter as well. Like, they don't have any really good shooting guards anymore. Like, Brennan Ingram's probably their best shooter at this point, which is all right, but they don't have any, like, knockdown. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but like, JJ Redick was that for them.
Yeah.
Like when they need a 3-pointer, they need to rely on a guy to hit a three. Brandon Ingram's not the best guy to rely on. Or Lonzo isn't the guy you want to rely on either.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I don't like it for them.
I'm gonna leave this on the last notes because we got a bunch of more trades to get to, and I know Jacob has work about an hour and a half. I'm just gonna leave it off on this. If the Pelicans wanted to go in a double guard scenario after seeing that Lonzo and Bledsoe wasn't working, one, I thought they should have started Josh Hart regardless. I thought he's actually been really impressive, especially on the rebounding, and the stats don't do justice to how good he is at rebounding, by the way. But I think if you really saw if you saw it wasn't working, why would you not have Bledsoe come off the bench, and then have what's his name, Nickeil Alexander-Walker start at the 2 and have a dual combo and see what that would work like more consistently because. There are plenty of times where we saw Walker and Ball on the court together, but it was never consistently, and I never really felt that they built that kind of chemistry that when you were just like consistently playing night in and night out with a player that you can truly build. I never thought that really happened with Walker and what's his name and Lonzo. That said though. We're going to probably make this one quick. The Warriors send Marquise Chris to the Spurs for Katie Lalane and cash. It's not much for me to really talk about here. Spurs get a little bit of cash. Oh my gosh. The Warriors get a little bit of cash and a young, or like just kind of, basically that's all I see it as. They just got cash.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much to talk about for this trade.
Yeah.
Marquise Chris could be a solid bench piece for them next year when he comes back off that injury.
Yeah. I can definitely see that. I mean, he has some potential. I mean, he's athletic, so, I mean, yeah.
Wasn't he like a... Oh, so you can go.
The Warriors just dumped off players for cash at the deadline. They did that with the Wanamaker, too.
I was gonna say, like, isn't wasn't he like a second-round pick 3 years ago or something like that? I kind of forget who he is. Like, the name's kind of familiar, but...
I'm gonna be completely honest. For as much as I know these random NBA players who actually are irrelevant, I have no idea who that is. I'm just gonna be honest.
Honestly, I never heard of him in my life.
Pretty sure he's like, I don't know how young he is. He's probably like 24-ish. I'm pretty sure he got drafted a few years ago.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know much about him. He doesn't really play much.
I think it really means much. Marquise Chris is decent, I guess.
He's obviously the better player.
Okay, so for this one, it just says here, I don't think, this isn't the specific trade here, but the Bulls acquire Daniel Tice from the Celtics for Mo Wagner. So basically, the Bulls get Daniel Tice and, what's his name? The Celtics end up getting Mo Wagner in the trade. Now, like I said,
that was a part of the three-way trade.
Three-way trade, right? No, I don't
with the Wizards, too.
Yeah, I don't have it pulled up. They don't have the entire three-team trade pulled up here.
So
that trade was kind of weird.
If you guys know the trade, let me know.
The Wizards got Daniel Gafford and Chandler Hutchinson.
Mm-hmm.
The Bulls got Troy Brown Jr. and Daniel Tice, and then the Celtics got Mo Wagner.
Okay. Wait, just Mo Wagner? They didn't get any picks or anything or cash? They just Mo Wagner?
No, I don't think they got any picks. They just got Mo Wagner.
Okay. Okay. So I think honestly, just because I don't really know, Washington's a fucking dumpster fire. I don't even know what to expect at this point. I thought they were on the road to finally building something, and then it just did not happen. And I don't know.
Kyler cut out.
Hello, Kyler.
KJ.
Kyler is kind of true.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Brennan, shut the fuck up. I'm out here not even paying attention half the time. So yeah, I just well, okay. I'll start for the Celtics simple because if I talk about the Wizards, I'm gonna start ranting, and I don't want to rant because we got a time limit here. So I think just trading Tice for Mo Wagner, I don't really know how I feel about that. Just because I think Tice is just a better player. I think Mo Wagner can bring something that the Celtics kind of need though. So we'll kind of see his role on the team, but I'm not sure what to kind of really expect from that standpoint. I do like Gafford a lot. Now I understand that this year's actually been disappointing, but I think it was like the year before that, he actually flashed a lot of potential. Where Bulls fans were thinking like, "Wow!" Now this is just diehard Bulls fans that are absolutely delusional, who thought he could be like a really good center, not all star or anything, but like a good quality starting center. But I do think Gafford's young, and when we get Thomas Bryant back, I think he'll be a good backup center. Considering Robin Lopez probably won't be a part of the team next year. Alex Len, I mean, he's fine, I guess, but he doesn't need to be playing more than like 10 minutes a game. And for the Bulls standpoint, they got who did they get again? I'm sorry, Cherry Brown and who?
Daniel Tice.
Daniel Tice. Okay, so I think the Bulls actually walked out of here with this win. Vucevic with Tice as the backup, and Tice has proven to be like a quality like starting center. To be quite honest, I'm not sure. I think I like him off the bench more because he brings a better value to that depth unit. But Tice is still a really good center, and he's a good glue guy too. And then Troy Brown, Troy Brown just reminds me of like a better version of Valentine's. And Valentine plays like what 15 minutes per game for the Bulls sometimes, and when he's hot, he'll play a little bit more. So Troy Brown is another depth at the guard position. You can't really complain about that. He still has some potential too. So
Yeah.
I
And
do
he
think the
showed
Bulls walked
something
out of here with the win.
in the bubble without Bradley Beal. He showed that he can like be a facilitator.
Yeah,
I don't feel like he was ever given a chance. I don't think he was ever really given a proper chance to show what he was. I mean, yeah, he had his rookie year. He didn't really do much that year, but other than that, he's been buried on the bench. I mean, in games where he's gotten blown out, he has looked like decent. He has looked like he was a pretty decent player, but I don't know. The Wizards, Scott Brooks is just a moron. I don't know what else to say.
yeah, that's kind of what makes me. It's kind of what makes me nervous about Denny, bro. Because, it makes me so nervous about Denny that we'll never get it. I swear if Scott Brooks is not gone, bro.
I mean, they shouldn't have to worry about the triple-headed center. Fucking Alex Len, Robin Lopez, and Mo Wagner playing like 12 minutes each.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
Just
lie.
such a weird rotation. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know how he hasn't gotten fired yet, but that's one less center we have to worry about.
Bro, who was the Wizards coach?
But they just had a Daniel Gafford, so that's another center down.
Oh, geez. I actually kind of like him, though. I mean, he's had flashes.
I like Daniel Gafford. I don't think Chandler Hutchinson does anything. Daniel Tice for the Bulls. I don't like with the Celtics getting rid of Daniel Tice because I feel like he's a good interior defender that they still need. But because I don't think Robert Williams is a good shot blocker. I don't know how good he is if he would be up against Joel Embiid in a playoff series. Probably like foul out in 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, that's one less body that they have to stick
Yeah.
on Joel Embiid. I don't think Mo Wagner, obviously,
Mo
doesn't stand a
Wagner
chance.
doesn't stand a chance. So
Yeah, but at least Daniel Tice, I'm not going to say he would, like, neutralize him, but he'd, like, somewhat contain him.
Like,
Like,
he's
somewhat. Like, Mo Wagner would just
good
get
defender.
destroyed. Yeah. I just don't think you should stick Mo Wagner on a Joel Embiid in him.
Mo Wagner can develop into something, then maybe that would be good.
I mean, the thing about Mo Wagner is he just gives 100% effort. Like, he's a very scrappy player. He's not the best talent-wise, but you know he's just going to dive for every ball. He's going to give it his best effort, which is valuable because not many players are like that nowadays.
Yeah.
I think defensively, the Boston Celtics have shown this year that there's just like I don't think Boston's been that great of a defensive team at all. And I'm pretty sure the defensive the stats actually back that up too. But like The thing with Boston, so I never thought that with Tice and Thompson they were gonna defend Giannis or Embiid regardless. The thing that was for me personally was that I think they kind of understood that no matter what they do, Embiid is just too fucking dominant in the paint, and Giannis is too good. Nothing would have stopped them. I think that's why they, at the end of the day, acquired Evan Fournier because they do have the elite guard play to kind of match that, which is really key. And I think if they get their rotation to proper, really like crisp rotations, guys swings up the corner, double Embiid, and have guys flying around on a 4-on-5 or a 3-on-4 out on the perimeter, things can change. But once again, like I said, you're not going to stop Embiid and Giannis. But I think what they're kind of trying to do, even though I don't think it'll work just because this team is just not working whatsoever, I do think acquiring Evan Fournier, I can see their idea just because I got the sense that it's like, let us get another shooter, another good player. He can come off our bench because our bench unit, one, is atrocious. Two, it's not like we're stopping Embiid, Giannis anyway, so let's try and work our way around that and see what else we can come up with. And I think Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, because if you watch the Celtics and 76ers game, they were, I'm pretty sure all their games that were close at some point. Maybe the fourth quarter would be different, and I'm pretty sure the 76ers still won the game. But I remember the most recent game, which was maybe 3 weeks ago. It was a good game, and Jaylen Brown was doing his thing. Jason Tatum didn't have I don't even know if Jason Tatum. I'm pretty sure Jason Tatum wasn't even there. I think he was injured too, and it was a close game. And so I think acquiring Evan Fournier still benefits them. Now for the diehard Boston fans that think that Tice is just, I understand the glue guy thing. I understand what he provides, but this idea that Tice is just so valuable that they're so stupid for trading Tice. Now I understand once again Fournier's overpaid a little bit. He's a bit expensive, but what Boston was doing was not working, and they should have been championship contenders. And so I can't really fault Boston for kind of wanting to do that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say one more thing before I go because I have to go after I say this. I think acquiring Evan Fournier is the final piece that they need, but having a shooter off the bench they just never had.
Hello, Daddy. Dylan, you there?
Okay.
Okay. Nice one, Dylan.
Sorry, I'm lagging. Yeah, that's just they never had that. Robert Williams was their spark plug. They didn't really have a good scorer off the bench, which is what would happen. They have good scorers on offense, but when it came to the second unit, teams would just fight back because they don't have any offensive weapons to kind of combat what other benches have. And I think Fournier, who is I'm not gonna say great. He's a good shooter. He's a pretty efficient scorer.
Yeah,
I think him off the bench. Yeah, I think him off the bench is just perfect for them. But yeah, I gotta go. It was nice being on here.
All right, I'll see you, Dylan. You can, Jacob, if you want, you can say if you want, and if you want to go, that's cool too. But
yeah, I'll probably stay till I have to go, or however long we do.
All right.
I just if I was a Celtics fan, I would just be mad. I don't really like what the Celtics did this trade deadline. I wish they would have got more interior help defensively, because their way to win the East is to stop. They have to stop Embiid. They have to stop Giannis. They don't really have a guy to throw at that. If they had just a big guy maybe, I don't know if Al Horford was available, but someone like him would definitely help. But Evan Fournier is a good bench scorer, and he can also start some games if they really need him to.
Yeah, I'm not really sure if I loved it either. Like I said, I at least understand their thought process behind it. I just don't really know if it really changes much for them. But yeah, that's kind of that's kind of my take on that one. This trade right here we don't really need to discuss, but the Hornets acquired Brad Wanamaker from the Warriors for cash. Hornets get another depth unit or a depth point guard. Excuse me. Just because LaMelo Ball is out, I mean, I actually think that trade's not bad for them, to be quite honest. I like their thinking here, trying to let's bolster our kind of guard units, just because LaMelo just got hurt. Considering we're probably gonna make the playoffs. And Warriors are in sell mode because I don't think they really can care about making the playoffs anymore. So yeah, I really don't hate that trade actually at all.
Yeah. I mean, the Hornets just get guard depth to help for LaMelo getting hurt, and
Yeah,
since they're the 4th seed in the East right now, that they still need to be able to compete. And at least Wanamaker he's better than whoever else will be in there. I don't even know who would the other guard be that he's gonna replace, but
yeah. I mean, they still have Devontae Graham, Malik Monk, Terry Rozier, and I
yeah,
expect those three to
and
do the
Harry.
main jobs. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see some Brad Wanamaker playing like a good 10 to, or at least like 15 minutes a game and just be like a serviceable player because he's a bigger guard too, which can be really helpful. He can probably play the two spot.
Yeah,
Um,
there's not much else to really say about
yeah.
Brad Wanamaker.
So let's see. Let's see. Oh, here's a good one. Okay, so the Clippers. Oh, this one's okay. So yeah, here's the controversial one a little bit. The Clippers get Rondo from the Hawks, and Lou Williams goes to
The
Atlanta for
Hawks.
picks and cash. Let's see what the picks. The Hawks will also get cash and 2 second round picks and so 2 second round picks, Lou Williams, and cash for Rondo.
So the Clippers with that showed how aggressive they were to get an actual point guard that can help them in the playoffs because
Mm,
they tried to go for Lowry and they tried to go for Lonzo. Once they didn't want to give up that much for either of them, they just settled for Rondo, who has proven he can be a good playoff performer. And then Lou Williams for the Hawks. It's just another guard that they have that can score. They have like a lot of guards right
yeah,
now. So I don't know how all that's gonna work out if they can get the rotations down. But Lou Williams is obviously he's one of the best six mans of all time. So having him helps. So I don't think Rondo is that valuable to the Hawks.
I think I thought it was a good trade for both sides. I think both walked away because I don't think I think it was more beneficial that they needed a point guard more than Lou Williams. And for the Hawks standpoint, I think it was just like, you know what? We don't really need um we don't really need Rondo, especially long term. And it's not like they need Lou Williams too long term, but I think the 2 second round picks is going to be pretty. I think that's more than
Yeah,
enough for Rondo, and because I already think regardless of Lou Williams not being as good this season, is better
yeah, that's all.
than better than what's his name. I think Lou Williams is
Rondo.
better than Rondo, and so I think it was
Yeah,
just a desperate move to get a
that's
point guard.
what I think too. That's like yeah, that's when I first saw it. I thought it was just a desperate move to get a point guard. I like the 2 seconds that the Hawks got because they at least can turn into something if they draft well. And Lou Williams, when he's probably not gonna, he's not there obviously long term, but for now, since they've been way like a lot better recently and they've been winning games, Lou Williams will help them compete because off the bench he's really good at scoring. So
Yeah. Like you said though, I think if they figure out their guard rotation, especially since DeAndre Hunter is back too, and you can use him so he's so versatile. You can use him
yeah,
in so many different scenarios. I think if they figure out a
yeah.
proper lineup, then it
I
can
think
work.
Chris Dunn will be back soon too.
Yeah, I don't really expect
Another
Chris Dunn to
guard.
play though, just because he's been out for so long, and I mean he is a
Yeah,
defender, so that
he's
is
still a solid
beneficial.
defender. Which I mean,
Yeah,
his defense they don't really have that.
I'm curious. Yeah, I'm
Really
actually pretty curious on how this. I'm really hoping because we all know about playoff Rondo, and once again, at this point, because every single time I'm like, okay, can we chill on the Rondo hype in the playoffs? And then he ends up screwing me over, and I end up being wrong about him, and he actually ends up being very impressive. So playoff Rondo, I'm gonna stop doubting until it's time for me to start doubting him.
Yeah.
So I expect that, but for the regular season. I don't really expect much from Rondo, to be quite honest. But for the playoffs, I think he'll come in really
Yeah.
beneficial.
Especially after the last year's playoffs, the Clippers' main struggle was they didn't have a point guard. They had Patrick Beverly and like Reggie Jackson,
Yeah,
who they can't really be. They're not like actual point guards. They're more like scoring. Or Patrick Beverly's a defensive guy. Reggie Jackson's more of a scorer. Rondo can like control an offense. He's a nice leader. He's got championship experience, which helps.
I think this is a win-win scenario for both teams. Now, it would be such a shame if if Kawhi leaves in free agency this upcoming season. Like that's
Yeah,
an absolute L. But if he somehow manages to, which I think he will say, I don't really see why he would leave.
yeah. I don't know why he would leave. I don't know where he would go
all
either.
all that effort just to leave, I wouldn't really understand that. But
Yeah.
if
If he did leave, then that would be just really bad for the Clippers.
they would be
They paired
they
up
would be
Kawhi and Paul George should not do anything
they'd be worse than the
unless
Nets,
they
bro.
win this year. But I mean, I don't think they're gonna win this year.
They'd be like they'd be worse than that Nets team that got scammed for Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett.
Yeah. Except the Clippers actually had a chance of being something. The Nets just were dumb.
Yeah. The next trade we have here, actually, I don't really want to talk about this, but I'm just going to mention it. It was Terrence Davis to the Kings for a second-round pick.
Yeah,
Kings get
you know.
another guard. There's not much to really talk
The
about there.
Raptors did that twice to try to clear up a roster spot for a Kyle Lowry trade that they never
Yeah.
did.
Yeah,
Because they did that with Matt Thomas, too.
Mhm.
They sent him to the Jazz.
That was kind of funny.
And then he didn't.
The Matt Thomas trade is literally right after, too.
Yeah. Which, I mean, he's just another shooter that the Jazz have, since they have, like, their whole team is shooting outside of Gobert and Favors.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. The Jazz just keep... Oh my gosh, the Jazz just have a bunch of shooters around Gobert and Mitchell. That's kind of tough. So that's basically what like Houston did, except has ball movement and some sort of actual offense.
The Jazz actually have an offensive system and not ISO ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell? The fuck did I just glitch for?
And the
Alright,
Raptors got what? They got a second round pick for both of those guys. So I mean, I guess that is fine because those guys weren't doing anything for them.
Oh yeah. I don't really think Matt Thomas is gonna do too much either, but I mean
Yeah, I doubt even plays. Like he'll probably come in when the Jazz are up 30. I'll hit a few shots and then, yeah.
Next up, here's the 3-team one from the Knicks, 76ers, and Thunder. So George Hill goes to the 76ers. Let's see. Hold on, I'm trying to do this park game. Oh, shoot. You know, whatever. We're going to lose. I'm playing with straight bots right now.
Alright.
So, 76ers. Let's see. Sixers send back up Tony Bradley. Okay, so Tony Bradley, Terrence Ferguson, and 2 second-round picks to OKC for George Hill. And then New York's also. So New York gets Ferguson. They send Iggy. That guy. Oh, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that name. And then they still send Austin Rivers to the Thunder. The second round picks at 76 are sending a 2025, 2026. Okay, so the Thunder are getting, let's see, Tony Bradley,
Austin Rivers
in 2 seconds.
And then 2 seconds.
The Knicks get Terrence Ferguson. and the 76ers get George Hill. Okay, yeah, the 76ers get George Hill.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
So yeah, if you want to kind of go first, I'll probably just
the
stick to
Knicks.
talking about the
Yeah,
76ers and what they did.
I don't think Terrence Ferguson. I mean, maybe he can get some opportunity with the Knicks, but I mean, I don't know how much he's gonna really do. The Thunder just get another young big man, like they don't already have enough with Poku, Moses Brown, and Roby and Beasley, but and Austin Rivers, I think he's gonna get bought out anyways. And they get
Oh
two
yeah, I can
seconds,
see
and then
that.
the Sixers just get a veteran point guard to come off the bench, and he can shoot really well. So that's too because they need a guy who can like run in the offense off the bench.
Yeah.
And he's a veteran, so good leader. So I like it for the Sixers. The Thunder just get more picks, so that's fine for them. Then maybe Ferguson can turn into something for the Knicks.
It'd be a real shame for all those picks that the entire thing just ends up being a
Yeah,
bust.
yeah, they have to draft well with all those picks.
And the
But
Thunder
if
are
you have
drafting
like
talented.
34 picks in like the next however many years,
Mm-hmm.
kind of hard to not hit on some of them. Like you're bound to hit on some of them.
Yeah. Here's another really good one. So we can talk about this one more. The Norman Powell trade. So Norman Powell to the Raptors, and the Blazers
Yeah,
get Gary Trent Jr. and Rodney Hood.
Norman Powell.
So for me, what I think about that, so I think the Trailblazers absolutely won that trade. I think
Hmm.
Norman Powell is so underrated, and I think he's going to prove the season. I think if someone gives him a chance and signs him to a big contract, I think he's worth the contract. I like the potential moving forward. Um, I also think I understand that Gary Trent. He's only been in the league for 3 years. And I was actually shocked. I thought he was older than that, to be quite honest. Um, he's actually Gary Trent's not a bad player at all. But I just think Norman Powell is a better overall scorer than him, and I do think he's definitely better on the defensive end. I think Rodney Hood is just kind of he is what he is. Injuries kind of screwed him over. I still think he can bring some
Yeah.
sort of valuable scoring off a team's bench. Excuse me, but I don't really think he's much anymore at this point. I wouldn't even be surprised if he's out of the league in a few years just because of kind of what to expect from him. He's gotten so many injuries and stuff, so I don't. There's not much to really say there, but I think Gary Trent is still a good player, but at the end of the day, if the Trailblazers want to sign Norman Powell long term, which I do think would be a good idea, I would fully support that because I really do like Norman Powell. He's like a 3 level scorer in a way. He's a solid defender too. He's not bad or anything. He's not elite by any stretch of the imagination, but he's still like a solid defender. And he's definitely better than
Yeah.
Gary Trent. Whereas Gary Trent, he's more just like he's a great 3 point shooter. His mid range game, he's a really good mid range pull up too. It's super underrated. I think he has one of the most underrated mid range pull ups in the game. When we're talking about players like Kyrie and Lillard, even though he pulls up from three more, honestly, but we normally see from that. But yeah, his mid range pull up is super underrated. But I think the defensive capability from Norman Powell is a bit better. The defensive capability, the finishing and driving capability is a little bit better from Norman Powell as well. And overall, I just think even though there are times where Powell can be inconsistent, I think Gary Trent is definitely a more inconsistent player than Powell. So that's kind of my take on that trade.
Yeah. In my opinion, I honestly, I don't, I don't really like it for the Blazers that much because Norman Powell, they're gonna have to. I mean, he has like a player option for like 11 million, but he's easily declining that
Yeah, he definitely is.
and testing free agency. And I don't know like how much better Norman Powell is than Gary Trent because I feel like Gary Trent, with the same opportunity Norman Powell has in Toronto, can probably average score at a similar rate. But Norman Powell, I mean, Norman Powell is definitely better, but I don't think Gary Trent's far off, and Rodney Hood is like all right, I guess. But the Trailblazers just Norman Powell, and they just shorten up their depth.
Yeah.
So if they really think Norman Powell is that much better than Gary Trent, then yeah, sure.
Brandon said
But
Norman
I
good
really,
defensively.
I like Gary Trent.
Let's get Cardi, bro. Hood is ass. Yeah, we know he's ass. Yeah, that's. I don't really have much to say. I think it's a bust if they can't re-sign him in free agency. Because at that point, I understand. I'm just saying specifically. I think Norman Powell. What about this? Who would you rather? Would you pay more for Victor Oladipo or Norman Powell?
Probably Oladipo, just because he's proven more, and he's a better defender.
Okay. Just now, see, I think this is where we have mixed opinions. Just because I don't know, maybe I just have like a love obsession with Norman Powell, and I understand that he really hasn't proven enough for me to really consider it. I'm just saying I like what he brings long term. I think his potential. I kid you not. I think he has the potential to, in his prime, to average like 23 points a game. And maybe that's a little bold of me to say. But I just think Norman Powell, because this year he's quietly averaging 20 points a game, 19.6 to be exact. Last time I checked, which was last night, so maybe shit changed or something. But last time I checked, he was averaging 20 points a game. I need to plug in my computer. But
Yes, kid, Brendan.
no way, Brendan, just join, bro, from Manhattan. But I mean, Brendan can get some talking to this. That's a true fact. I do think though, if they don't resign Norman Powell, then yes, Jacob, you're right. This is definitely not a good move by them. But I'm basing this off the fact that I think Powell will definitely resign there if the money is right. See, now that's a different story because I don't know how much they'll pay him. I'm just trying to base it off Victor Oladipo because I personally think I'd rather have Norman Powell than Victor Oladipo, especially this season has shown that. And I think if Victor Oladipo is getting about $20 million a year, which I wouldn't be shocked if it happens, I don't see a reason why Norman Powell can't get that, if not better. And maybe they don't have the salary to match that. Maybe I'm delusional and they might not have the money to do that. But if I'm Portland, I know I just wouldn't mind paying Norman Powell just because I believe in him long term, and that's just kind of an opinion of my own. It's not exactly a fact. There's not much to really back that up because there isn't proof to show that. I'm just saying potential wise, that is just my opinion. So let's see. Next up, I don't really want to talk about this too much, just because we kind of mentioned Bielitsa on the Heat earlier. Not too much, but Bielitsa to the Heat for Mo Harkless and Chris Silva.
Interesting. Two players that didn't really work out for them, and he just replaced Kelly Olynyk with Bielitsa.
Yeah, no, I definitely like that better just because Kelly Olynyk wasn't that good this year. Like, he just wasn't hitting his shots.
Plus, the Heat like having big men that can shoot, clearly because they had Olynyk and Myers Leonard. Yeah.
I mean, I like this move from the Heat standpoint. I mean, Bielitsa, you place Bielitsa with Kelly Olynyk, look, that's a plus. I think Bielitsa is better than Olynyk. I think he's more versatile, although he's not the best defensively either. I think he's definitely more quick-footed on his feet. Maybe it's just to do with size and stuff like that. But he seems like more of a traditional four, whereas Olynyk, you preferred him to have at the 5. And I didn't think that now I understood against certain teams you could have Bam and only do certain rotations where they could switch players, whoever was closer to the ball, and some sort of rotation like that. But I think Bielitsa, you can kind of trust more to go on forwards a little bit better. like I said, he's still not a great defender or anything, but I think I trust defensively Bielitsa a lot more than I do Kelly Olynyk. Where, yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't.
no, yeah, definitely that, yeah.
Similar to Kelly Olynyk, Bielitsa, if he ever gets hot in a playoff game or something, like Kelly Olynyk did against the Wizards, then now like if he gets hot and starts hitting like 6 or 7 threes or something like that, he'll win you a game. But Mo Harkless isn't winning anything for the Heat. So.
Oh, okay. So here's
Yeah,
another
close.
here's another big one. Okay, so let's see. Aaron Gordon, the Aaron Gordon trade. So Denver gets Aaron Gordon. The what's his name?
Gary
The
Clark.
Orlando Magic get Gary Harris, RJ Hampton, and a 2025 first round pick. I talked about this in both my Aaron Gordon videos, which I have like two in like the span of like 4 days. So I'll go last on this one. If Brendan, you can go ahead and go first on that on this Aaron Gordon trade, if you're still here. No, I just mentioned the Aaron Gordon trade. So Aaron Gordon to Orlando, or Aaron Gordon to Denver. And Orlando receives Gary Harris, R.J. Hampton, and a 2025 first round pick.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that the Nuggets or the Magic got RJ Hampton and a first rounder for Aaron Gordon. And for Aaron Gordon, I think he a change of scenery has been needed for him because the Magic just wasn't working out. And Aaron Gordon provides good defense and also he's not getting asked to do as much as he was on the Magic. And yeah, he can have like the backdoor lobs. And even when Jokic comes off, Aaron Gordon can be that playmaker that they need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I assume so.
He'll probably just replace Paul Millsap.
Jamal Murray, Will Barton, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and Jokic. Yeah, I see him coming in for like when Jokic rests, Aaron Gordon leading the offense because that's what he did in Orlando and he was effective at doing that earlier this year. Once more, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so my take on so I'm gonna talk about the Nuggets first. 'Cause that's kind of the more interesting one, and I understand what they do. Because I think RJ Hampton actually has a really good potential. Um, so what I thought about the trade was okay. So one, I'm just gonna outright say it. I don't think Aaron Gordon pushes the needle for the Nuggets past a healthy Lakers team. I understand they did beat the Clippers, so I understand that, but I still believe that the Clippers. I just kind of find it hard to believe that they cannot beat the Clippers this year if they were to go up against them again. I still think I would take Phoenix over the Nuggets just because I'm just that much of a believer in Chris Paul. Now Jokic is probably my MVP, him or Harden probably this year. So things will definitely change once it actually comes playoff time. I'm just thinking generally. I think I might take the Suns as of right now. And so with that said, Aaron Gordon's fit with Denver is really good. Like I don't think people understand
Yeah.
offensively how. Like I don't think people actually understand how the lack of usage, and it wasn't all on Clifford either. But I think Steve Clifford did not use Aaron Gordon's slashing ability in the proper way at times. Not the entire time, obviously. A lot of it was on Aaron Gordon trying to be too much of a ball handler. But I think the movement in this offense is going to be so good. I think he's going to get plenty of backdoor lobs, backdoor easy layups and dunks. I think the fast break will be really good with Jokic, Jamal Murray, and Aaron Gordon. I think that he'll get more standing catch and shoot threes. And with that said, I think Aaron Gordon's efficiency through the rest of the season, assuming he gets integrated properly, will probably be the best of his career. I really wouldn't be surprised. Now, when we're talking about Aaron Gordon's playmaking, for fantasy, okay, I dick rode Aaron Gordon playmaking just because it's Aaron. He was on my team, obviously. I also think that he got more playmaking opportunities because of the injuries that were happening to such as Markelle Fultz. But Aaron Gordon, the playmaker, when we're generally talking about him as a playmaker, I'm not sure if I love him as a playmaker. I think it was more that he was forced into that role due to the injuries and circumstances it was for Orlando. And so with that said, I don't believe that he's that great of a playmaker. If we're talking the general consensus of the idea of playmaking, I don't think Aaron Gordon fits that bill whatsoever, and I don't think he'll be required to fit that build for Denver because they already have not maybe enough. And when you brought up Campazzo, I guess you can understand that because potential-wise. But Campazzo, the playmaker, compared to Aaron Gordon, the playmaker, give me Campazzo all the way. That's just my opinion. Campazzo really isn't used in that for the most part anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I think that Jokic is so ball dominant. We forget at times that Jokic, the center, is easily the best, like one of, if not the best, like I kid you not, the best playmaker of all time. We forget that. And we forget that he's so ball dominant that he's literally carrying this offense with his passing. And I understand that they get contributes from Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr., but let's be honest, both of those players would not be as good as they are today without Jokic, and that's just a fact. I think that's the fact for the team. I think that's why Jokic is my MVP this season. And so with that said, Aaron Gordon, the playmaker, if we're talking when they're with that second unit, I think as a secondary ball handler, I don't mind that. But I think there's a difference between ball handling and playmaking duties. And that's my thing. And so I don't expect Aaron Gordon to have I don't expect him to do much playmaking in that department just because what do they need? They don't need him to because when Jokic is out, they still have Jamal Murray. And I think their offensive concept kind of changes a little bit when Jokic is off the floor. And if you actually look, Jokic, when he's off the floor, the Nuggets are significantly worse too. And so, with that said, I think there's no need to really discuss the playmaking aspect of Aaron Gordon. And I understand why, and I don't mind it. I don't think it's dumb to assume that because at the end of the day, I probably can be wrong, and Aaron Gordon does get those opportunities. But when we're talking Orlando and what he was assigned to do compared to what he's going to do in Denver, I felt like it was more forced in Orlando due to circumstances and what injuries had happened, COVID, and just basically the circumstances. That's all and I don't want to keep repeating myself, but circumstances. I think that's why Aaron Gordon was playmaking more than he really should have because the advanced metrics shown that he really should not have been ball handling that much. I don't think his ball handling is warrant to be much outside of a secondary ball handler. And that's why I mentioned I think his catch and shoot rate will be up this season. I think his corner threes will be up this season. I think his attacking will be a lot more effective this season now that he's on Denver. And so that's kind of my take on them. And for the Orlando side, I know that was kind of a long take on them. For the Orlando side, I actually really like this trade. They move away from Aaron Gordon's contract. R.J. Hampton has more potential than people actually think. Because people forget, he was projected to be a top 5 pick at the beginning of the year. And I understand he fell a lot, but he was projected to be a really good pick this season. His athleticism is super underrated. And I'm not even talking about highlights. But in case you haven't seen, have you guys seen some of these highlights? Like, he's catching bodies, bro. And I was shocked because I did not think he had that athleticism in him. And I think the acquisition of Gary Harris as a solid kind of shooting guard to move on for the rest of the season is fine to match salaries. I don't really mind that. I just think R.J. Hampton in the first-round pick fits really well with the team moving long-term because they don't need Hampton to be a starter. He literally just needs to be a backup for Cole Anthony and for Markelle Fultz. And I actually think that he's such a versatile player. He's tall, he's athletic and lengthy. He can play some two guard too, and I think I actually kind of like him, kind of like with Shea. I used the comparison of Shea a couple days ago with RJ Hampton. Because not in the sense that he's not nowhere close to Shea, but in the sense that we like Shea the point guard, but we think that Shea the shooting guard is a little bit better. In the sense that he's not a natural playmaker, he can do it, but we like him more as a scorer because he's so crafty in that way. And that's what I get from the sense of RJ Hampton right now in that career, where we would rather have him as a 2 maybe instead of a 1, but we have no problem in him playing the 1. Yeah. And that was a little long, so you can go ahead and kind of talk now.
Oh yeah, I feel like Aaron Gordon fills a lot of the holes that the Nuggets had. Especially, I feel like he's definitely. I mean, Paul Millsap's a pretty good defender, but Aaron Gordon, I feel like, is a better guy to have on the defensive end and starting. Because, I mean, not that, like, anyone can guard LeBron, but Aaron Gordon would have a better chance of guarding LeBron than Paul Millsap would.
Yeah.
And then I like we're going to get into the other Magic trades that they made, but I like that they're moving into the right direction finally. And resetting everything. And they're going to have young guys like RJ Hampton, and then they have picks that hopefully they can finally hit on some picks, because obviously they struggle with drafting. But
I think it was about time for them to move in a different direction. At the end of the day, the Vucevic, Evan Fournier era, just not working. Yeah. And once they got Markelle, Jonathan Isaac, I think Jonathan Isaac and Markelle really get injured, really hurt this team. I'm not saying they would have went anywhere or anything. I still think they would have been at least a playoff team. And no one expected them to really do anything. But I think that really affected them this season, and it was really unfortunate that those two are out, because I think Jonathan Isaac is so underrated as a role player. And I don't think he has. Yeah, I'm not sure if he has the potential of a superstar. But I think his impact on the game could have been like a Marcus Smart, and I think that was his floor, to where like I think his ceiling could have been at least an all-star level player with an impact of like a star player, because defensively he was just so talented. And if he could just figure out, because he was starting to figure out his offensive game just a little bit. The shooting still wasn't there really, but the drive, the finishing ability he had was really kind of starting to come into play. But like I said, I do think they did the right thing moving on from this. And I do think that is fine at the end of the day. They needed to go in a different direction, so that's I don't really mind this.
They're just in survive until next year, and they'll get Markelle Fultz. They'll have Hampton and Cole Anthony and Jonathan Isaac, and then they'll also have Wendell Carter and those first-round picks.
I didn't even talk about Aaron Gordon, the defender, either. That's something I failed to mention, and so you already kind of tapped on that. So I'll probably keep this talk about this for the next 10 seconds. I actually did like Gordon, the defense, because he filled in the hole. Because it was the Orlando Magic game, and once again, I know I kind of shit talked the Magic, but the defensive game plan by Mike Malone on the Magic, I think it was like 4 or 5 days ago, was really good. But there were a lot of times where defensively they were just either outmatched, they didn't have the defenders, or they just weren't disciplined enough. And so the team defensively fell off this year. And so I think Aaron Gordon fills a lot of those holes, because I think at the end of the day, Paul Millsap is getting up there in age. And the one thing that people don't understand is that Aaron Gordon fits the timeline for Jokic and Murray. They're both like all of them are under 25. I think Aaron Gordon might be a little older, like 26. Also fits the timeline. But and I think that was good, a good signing, just because it reassures them that once Paul Millsap retires or leaves, they have Aaron Gordon and they don't need to worry about that at all.
Yeah. Because the biggest worry with Millsap like leaving was, before they got Aaron Gordon, was Michael Porter Jr. doesn't have the defense that Paul Millsap has, but now they have Aaron Gordon, so they don't need Michael Porter. They don't need Michael Porter Jr. to fill in for Millsap.
And on top
of now, Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Gordon, and Jokic is a solid 4
And on top of that,
core.
Bobo wasn't really.
Yeah.
Bobo's not ready. As much as people want to hype up Bobo every time he scores a bucket in the last 2 minutes of a game, he's not ready yet. I think give him a couple years, he'll be a consistent player that you can rely on to get.
Once he can
the
get
team.
ready.
Yeah. But for the time being, I still think Aaron Gordon. I like the Aaron Gordon signing. I just don't think it's good enough to where I'm taking them over a healthy Lakers team, especially.
I don't think it makes him. I mean, it definitely gives them better chances, but I don't think it makes them an actual contender over the Lakers or someone.
Yeah. So we did the Wizards of Troy Brown. Okay, so the Magic, the Evan Fournier trade. So the Magic trade Evan Fournier to the Celtics, and the Celtics gets Jeff Teague and draft picks. What was it?
Yeah, Jeff Teague, you got waived.
They waived them. Okay. Oh, it was Jeff Teague in 2 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so 2 seconds for Evan Fournier.
Evan Fournier, 2 seconds seems like a low price.
That's exactly what I said.
Because the Magic were so adamant on trading Aaron Gordon, like all the reports out there, I feel like if they put Evan Fournier's name out there more and made him available, they probably would have got more than 2 seconds. And the Celtics just get more wing depth in Fournier.
Yeah, I think,
and he's also a solid scorer off the bench.
That was because I in my video, that's literally like the first thing I said once I finished my intro. I was like, wait a minute, there's no way they only got 2 seconds, and I guess maybe the price on Evan Fournier might have been why.
Yeah, because his contract is.
But I think he's a good enough player to warrant at least a late first. That's what I thought. I was thinking to myself, there's no way in hell that the Magic didn't get offered at least one first round pick, whether that was late
or a younger
player. Yeah, that was.
They got 2 seconds. They didn't even get the player. The guy is Jeff Teague, and he's already off the team.
Jeff Teague was terrible, even if they decided to keep him.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean Fournier will be solid off the bench. You can also start some games if they really want him to. Because, I mean, I don't know. They just have a lot of guys that they have to fix in rotation for. So.
Yeah. I think this is an okay trade for both sides. I don't think the Celtics are going to really change their ways. I think they're going to keep struggling this season, even with Fournier. I think they'll at least be a little bit better.
Magic just get rid of the contract and get 2 seconds.
So that's really all. I mean, it was a fine trade by both teams, I guess. I mean, one team's overpaying for a shooter, the other one's paying or didn't get enough, in my opinion. I mean, like I said, if they draft well and get with those 2 seconds, I mean, if they hit on one of those seconds at least,
the Magic are just known for not drafting well.
So yeah, I'm not really gonna rely on that at all. So I guess that was pretty quick then. Finally, we're at the Vucevic trade. Okay, wait, did we already talk about that already? No, we didn't.
No, not really.
Okay.
Oh, we talked about it maybe with the Bulls, but not really the actual trade.
Yeah. All right, so here's the main trade I want to get to because I'm pretty sure this was the last main one. I can kind of scroll down because right after the JaVale McGee one, we don't really need to discuss that one too much.
Yeah, I'll probably do this one, and then that's probably the last main trade.
Okay, yeah.
And Dylan, right?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine then. Okay, so Vucevic. Aminu. So we got Nikola Vucevic, Al-Farouq Aminu to the Chicago Bulls for Otto Porter, Wendell Carter Jr., 2 future first-round picks. Yep. Okay. So yeah, you can kind of go ahead and start that one off.
So the Magic are going once again in the right direction. The only thing is, I don't know, Wendell Carter did just get benched recently, so that's not gonna really help his confidence. He's been bad this year, but maybe he can revive, or maybe he can just improve in Orlando. And 2 first-rounders to help with the rebuild. Otto Porter is a solid player that can, like Gary Harris, just help him at least be kind of competitive. And the Bulls get to pair along Levine, so they show that they trust that Zach Levine can be their star and their number 1 player, because they're trading for Vucevic, trying to compete for the playoffs, which they will probably get to. And Al-Farouq Aminu is a solid veteran wing defender. who can hit some threes.
Yeah.
And he's got playoff experience. I think him off the bench will be fine for the Bulls. But mainly Vucevic is just such an improvement for the Bulls. Like Levine and Vucevic is gonna be nice. I just wish they would have got Lonzo too.
Yeah, if they got Lonzo, that would have really capped it off as a good trade deadline for them.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna go with the Magic first because that's the more. I think Wendell Carter's the most interesting for me. So I remember literally just last year. And I watch this guy Rusty Buckets all the time. Biggest Bulls fan on the planet, bro. Like every time they do something good, he posts something on YouTube. Every time he does bad, he shits on them. It's so funny. And just a year ago, and it wasn't just him too. A lot of Bulls fans loved Wendell Carter. Like his potential, and I saw it too. I could understand it a little bit. His potential was really good. He brought defensive versatility, and I think this is the main reason why he struggled this year. Because I don't believe Billy Donovan used him in the right way defensively. But I'll get to that in a second. But his potential as a defensive player who could guard a couple of different positions was really good. He had an underrated finishing ability, not perfect. And he took some bad shots here and there, but he had a good finishing ability, and he was starting to develop a mid-range jump shot, which no one actually ever talked about that season. Not that it was amazing or anything, but development's development. It takes time. There's no way this guy didn't give me the ball, right? There's no way this guy didn't give me the ball. Okay, whatever. And so the reason why I mentioned that is because now we look back at this year. What do we see? We see a guy who defensively, it's not his fault only. It's still partially on him. But the Bulls defensively were atrocious this year, as they typically are, honestly. Zach LaVine and Kobe White as a backcourt duo was not good. And obviously they started Satoransky for a little bit now, which I agree with. But yeah, this has just not been a great It's not been a great defensive lineup regardless. And so when we talk about that, I bring up that sense that, like, when I was watching, Billy Donovan would have Wendell Carter do a drop coverage on pick and roll specifically. And so when I mention drop coverage, I think there's levels. I think drop coverage. I think of significantly. I think of mainly Brook Lopez, Rudy Gobert, especially Brook Lopez. This year's been a little different, but Brook Lopez and Rudy Gobert especially. And so, but it was still the same for Wendell Carter. Whereas I don't think his defensive versatility was used enough. Because I do think he can guard perimeter players than most typical big men. I do think he can guard a lot of forwards, like fours, not really necessarily threes, but fours. I think he can guard a lot. I think that with that in mind, like I said, I don't think his perimeter versatility was used enough in this defensive kind of concept they had going on in Chicago. And so I think that's why we saw at times his defensive struggles, because I don't think he'll ever, just because of his size, I don't really see him as being an elite paint protector. I just can't see that. But I do think you can find ways. The team that I kind of think of is the Miami Heat, where they have no problem, which because Bam is just so good, they don't mind dropping him in coverage. But they have no problem having Bam switch, having Bam move around the mid-range to free throw area and move around the wing area to guard players and forwards. They have no problem doing that with Bam, whereas I never really saw that consistently from Wendell Carter. And so when I say that, I think that attributed to his defensive struggles. I think the team around him not being great defensively attributed to that. And offensively, I can't really build an excuse for him that one. He just overall he wasn't that great, and so I'm not gonna do too much for the offensive game. So I'm gonna leave that alone. I do understand the struggles, and he's a young player, so I guess that could be an excuse. And so with that said, if I think we will see. I think Wendell Carter's make or break year will be next year. Not to sense that he'll be out of the league or anything, but we will see kind of what he can truly develop into. Because I think, assuming Jonathan Isaac comes back healthy, assuming he is the defensive player that we are used to seeing, if Steve Clifford, because Steve Clifford he's a solid defensive coach. I think that's his best quality, honestly, in my opinion. If he can come back, Jonathan Isaac come back healthy, and we are used to seeing him as the guy, as a defensive who can guard 2 through 5, no problem. I think if he can incorporate Wendell in the right way, I think that the defensive ceiling as a young team is really good because Markel's a solid defender
Yeah,
as
because
well.
Markel too.
So I'm interested to see next year how Clifford, assuming he's still the coach, because I have heard some rumors about him getting fired or something. Assuming he's still the head coach. No way he hit that. Assuming he's still the head coach, I would like to see how they are incorporated in defensively because I think that can be a very effective team and why I think they could be a
And
surprise next year.
if Gary Harris and Otto Porter are both good defenders if they stay for next year.
Now, offensively, that's a different story. I think they'll probably
Yeah.
be, if they don't sign really any significant free agents, they'll probably be one of the worst offensive teams in the league. Just because the spacing is going to be terrible. Markel's proven to be a shooter. Isaac has proven to be a consistent 3-point shooter. Who
Yeah.
else? Who else? Gary Harris is just on and off days. Like some days he ends up showing up. Some other days he shoots one shot and can't do anything on offense. So I think offensively they'll be one of the worst teams, which is why I don't expect them to go anywhere. Defensively, I wouldn't be shocked because obviously this is my thing. I think the first 10 to 15 games for bad teams, we can kind of get a sense of what they could be in the future. Because I think at the end of the year, maybe they'll drop off because there's just nothing to play for. Like, if you're bad, what's there to play for? I can get that. It's demoralizing. But if you were to ask me next year, the first 10 to 15 games, if they are a top 10 or at least above average defensive team, because they are young, so, I mean, there's nothing you can really do if you're young. I would bet my money that they are a good defensive team next year at the start of the season.
And a way
Yeah.
to get back to being playoffs is they have to draft well. They have all these picks. If they don't hit the picks, and they're just gonna be in the same, or they're not gonna be making the playoffs. They're gonna be like what they were before they made the playoffs a few years ago, like for the first time in a while.
So, and then
Yeah, okay, draft well.
for Chicago standpoint, and I'll hurry this up because we got one more trade to do. We might not even have time to do the trade because you have work. So if we don't have time, that's fine. We can end it there because I'm probably going to drop the Dylan Wright video after this stream, and I'll probably combine 2-3 of the trades. So if you want, this to be the last one. But the Vucevic side for the Bulls. So I loved this at the start, and then as the hours went by, I kept thinking to myself, do I really love this trade? Who's better between LeBron and MJ? Yeah, I'm gonna have to go LeBron. I don't know though. Fuck. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go LeBron. I don't know. We'll do a debate. We'll do a LeBron MJ debate another time. But the Vucevic thing. So the reason why I love this less and less as the days go on is just because I still like this trade. It's not a bad trade or anything. I'm fine with it. I just keep thinking to myself, like, what is Chicago's plan at the end of the day? Like, what are you trying to get out of this trade? Because if your goal is to make the playoffs, okay, congratulations, you accomplished that.
Yeah.
But then what's your next? You got to take steps. Like, you can't be stagnant. So what are the next steps Chicago is going to take in order to become better? Because this is where I bring up to this is where because they can't do it. They have the assets like Laurie and Kobe, but this is where I get into. I'm not sure if I trust Chicago as an organization to do the right things to get to into championship contention. Because I think Levine and Vucevic with better role players than your average, because they're not superstars. I think they're stars, but with the right role players, they can easily contend. I'm talking like really good role players. Throw in a Drew Holiday caliber player as one of your role players, something like that. Robert Covington, something like that. And so I want to know their next steps because as of right now, as teams constructed, they are not getting out of the second round. I don't care what you say; they're not, and they're so far on the playoffs. They're not going to get out the first round because they're going to end up playing either Philly, Brooklyn, or Milwaukee. They're not beating any of those teams. Now they could get up to the 5 seed. I'm not banking on that. And even so, then they're going to end up playing Miami. So I'll include Miami. So top 4 seeds: Milwaukee, 76ers, Nets, Miami. They're not beating any of those 4 teams. I'll wager that. And so what I'm trying to say is this year, I understand that they like this trade. They're going to kind of toy with Vucevic, Levine, and I do like that as a pick and roll combo as well. I think that's going to be very deadly. I also think that they can use what's his name? They can use Vucevic in a ball handling scenario where they give him the ball at the top of the key, let kind of players run around him and have some movement off of Vucevic, which can be very helpful for Levine's efficiency. Although he's been amazing this year. That's kind of my thing. I hope that I think Kobe White, because I don't like Kobe White. That's why I was really advocating for Lonzo. But I think Lauri Markkanen we could see in a lot of trade rumors this offseason and next season.
Yeah, I could see. And one last thing, because I'm about to leave right now.
Okay.
I'll just give my quick thoughts on DeLon Wright trade. I like it for the Kings because they get a nice fade off the bench to help them compete for a playoff spot since they're right outside the play-in games right now.
Yeah.
And the Pistons are just, I guess, resetting or something. I mean, I don't really know what they're doing.
They're weird.
But they get two second rounders.
Yeah.
DeLon Wright would be a nice guy off the bench.
Oh, actually, never mind. I think we're good here. The outside the JaVale McGee one and the Lon Wright trade was the only decent one. I think that's actually all the trades we cut. Yeah, it actually was all the trades. Okay. This website's just long for no reason. Yeah, that was all the trades, so actually this is perfect timing. I kind of agree with you there, too. I think the Lon Wright trade benefits them, and just because I don't know what the Pistons are doing, this is a good, solid role player to kind of have. So, if you want to go, you can go ahead and dip out
I'm
of
ready to
here.
go, so...
Yeah.
Appreciate you and having me on your podcast.
Yeah. All right, man. I'll see you, Jacob. We can clown Adam later today about how he got some scammed and shit. So yeah, basically, I'm gonna talk for like the next 5 more minutes. There's 6 people on here, so shout out to you guys for staying here. Basically, I'm gonna end the podcast by telling you guys a little story about a man named Wavy Adu who got his shit scammed in fantasy basketball. So, if you're not aware of this so-called Wavy Adu, basically it starts out by this. So there's a little young man named Wavy Adu, okay? And you know, for anybody that plays fantasy sports out there, there's always that one dumbass in the league that you can just you know what I'm trying to say? Who's that one person in your league where it's just like if you need a trade to scam someone real quick, you go to that person. Whether you can pull it off or not, you know you're going to get something valuable out of him. And so that's who Wavy Adu is. He now this is his first year of fantasy basketball, and we understand that. And so I'm gonna get to the trade in a second. So I'm just trying to get some context. So he's first year in fantasy, and he's actually not doing bad. He's the 10 seed, fighting for the 8 seed, and it's a really close rate for seeds 8 through 5, basically, because it's like they're all one game apart, if not tied. So yeah, that's the really key part. And so what ends up happening is let me get to the fucking. I'm curious to see if he's in here or not. Okay, so basically, we get to a point where, let me talk about the first trade. So I traded him. He gave me Chris Paul for Marvin Bagley and Robert Covington. In case you're not aware, Chris Paul is a top 40 player right now. Marvin Bagley's out for the year and wasn't even a top 90 player when healthy. Excuse me. And Robert Covington has just started turning on, but he's like ranked 86. That's a scam. So, yeah. So I just did a trade, and I'm gonna go pull it up for you guys real quick. It was a 3-team trade between me and 2 other people. Okay, I acquired. Okay, so Adam Wavy Adu got Mike Conley, Donovan Mitchell, and Sadiq Bey. Jacob got Al Horford, Chris Paul, Aaron Gordon, and Malcolm Brogdon. And I got Andrew Wiggins, Miles Turner, Karl Anthony Towns, and Jaren Jackson Jr. So, the reason why I constantly clown Adam, because he's a huge Cavalier fan, okay? He is all about sex lands. He basically cock rides Colin Sexton and Darius Garland, even if they are a little bit overrated, in my opinion. And I think on a lot of people's opinions. But that doesn't stop his love affair getting into what stopped him from getting scammed. His love affair is the reason why he got scammed. And so, let me also describe kind of what happened. So, Jacob was looking to trade Karl Anthony Towns because we all know he's a top 10 player. Or maybe not top 10. It might be a little bit too old. But for fantasy purposes, he's a top 12 player right now. And Karl Anthony Towns is clearly the best player in the state. So his plan, Jacob's plan, is to trade Karl Anthony Towns and then received a bunch of really good players to fill out the rest of his roster because he has Enes Kanter who's about to get affected by Nurkic, and he needs big man depth. And so he's planning to trade Cat, get two like star level players, top 50 players, which he got in Brogdon and Chris Paul, while still getting two really good depth pieces, which he got Al Horford and Aaron Gordon. So he lost Cat, but he also did lose Donovan Mitchell. So I guess it's still a loss there a little bit in my opinion. But he got the depth that he needed while still maintaining two stars. Now, I'm just going to ask the chat. You don't have to answer this, but in your head, who is the better player, especially for fantasy? If you know fantasy basketball, who was the better player, Miles Turner or Darius Garland? Let you guys sit there for a couple seconds to think about that. Okay, so I'm just going to outright say it. If your answer is not Miles Turner, because he's a better player IRL too, if your answer is not Miles Turner, then you are dumb. It's just that plain simple. Miles Turner is ranked 52 overall. Darius Garland is ranked like 107. Hold on, I'm going to text in the chat. I'm clowning him. On getting scammed. Oh, Cameron said invite to the party. Okay, let me invite Cameron real quick, and then we'll continue talking. They want to talk. Ah, that's so funny. Oh my gosh, you guys are gonna laugh. Okay, it's not. I'm not trying to take the time to do that. This is too much. Okay, so let me get back to the story. Oh, what's up, Oni? Okay, so yeah, let me get back to. Hopefully, as long as your settings are turned on, they should. All right, but basically, let me get back to the story. So the reason why I asked Miles Turner and Darius Garland is because. So the deal was for Adam. Now, understand, I'm understanding he did get Mike Conley, even though he lost Miles Turner. But Mike Conley has not been worth Miles Turner. He's been consistent, but Mike Conley has not been that great this season for fantasy. He's not bad, but he's not that good. And so I'm asking you guys this. So I already got Karl Anthony Towns. The expectation was is that I get Karl Anthony Towns, trade my role players and really good players. But then my depth is bad. Like, obviously, that's how it works. If you trade for a stud, your depth, the rest of your team is going to get a little bit worse, but you do get the stud player. And so that makes sense. And so I got Karl Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins, Miles Turner, and Jaren Jackson. The reason I was never supposed to get Miles Turner to begin with, okay? I was supposed to get Darius Garland, who obviously has not been that good for fantasy this year, as he's ranked 107, and Andrew Wiggins. That was the team I was supposed to get. And all he had to do, he was still going to get Donovan Mitchell. And I offered him like Michael Carter-Williams, who, although be it, is not good whatsoever. He's not trading Miles Turner. He's keeping Miles Turner.
All right, the stream should be able to hear me, bro.
Yeah, they probably should.
My voice.
All right. And so I bring this up because his love affair with Cavaliers players, he is so much in love with Darius Garland because he's a Cavaliers fan. He was willing, I kid you not, I didn't ask for it. I didn't say anything. Out of the blue, he just goes, okay, what about this? Word for word, what about this? I will give you Miles Turner if I can get Jeremy Grant or Karis LeVert. Now, Jacob's not going to apply to that because he's already losing Mitchell and Cat. So he goes, the best I'll do is Mike Conley. Now, see, Wavy Adu is so easy to persuade, okay? He's not... He would be a terrible car salesman. We'll say that. If you do not want him selling cars. Okay, let's just say that. I'll get to Kelly right in a second, Cole. Basically, you don't want him selling cars because he will finally eventually give in at some point because he's so easy to it's so easy to change his mind because he just gives up after like 15 minutes of arguing. So at some point, he finally settles for Mike Conley. Now, keep in mind, all he had to do was give me Darius Garland, someone who's not even a top 100 player for fantasy, and get back Michael Carter-Williams, who, based off of all the trades that just happened for the Orlando Magic, could have some potential as an upside player. So, with that said, he says, okay, take Miles Turner, I'll take Mike Conley. So I'm gonna ask you guys, and like I said, you don't have to answer this because it's just me talking. What would you rather have? Would you rather have Donovan Mitchell and Mike Conley with Darius Garland, or Donovan Mitchell, Miles Turner, and Mike Carter Williams? And the reason why I bring that up is if you want to say Darius Garland is better than Mike Carter Williams, okay, fine. I don't feel like debating. Both are not worth debating because they're not that good. But with that said, it's just funny to me, like Adam. Adam. You suck at fantasy, bro. You're so bad at fantasy. All right, that was kind of a quick backstory. Basically, I don't even know if you guys understood anything I was saying. The overall point was I just want to tell you guys and express how bad Aduma1 in the chat is bad at fantasy basketball. Okay. Cole, is that Cole Through-Kill? What are your thoughts on Kelly Oubre Jr.? I think Tsunami Poppy, honestly, is going to get traded in the offseason or something. I don't really know. He hasn't really been that good this year. It kind of sucks. Basically, give Brogdon and Turner for Conley Mitchell. That's good. No, you're a bot. No, Adam, you're a straight bot for that. Do you think Jeremy Lin earned a G League spot? Oh shoot, what's up, Canyon? How's USC going? Jeremy Lin earned a G League spot, man. I think Jeremy Lin
should be an NBA star.
I think he should be an. Okay, I don't think I'm an NBA starter. I think he deserves a roster spot at least in the NBA.
Yeah, he should.
There's definitely players Jeremy Lin's better than. Thoughts on Joe Ingles being a top 10 player? Honestly, Joe Ingles is kind of thick. No kizzy. Hey yo.
Joe Ingles is probably one of the most athletically
tough.
Players.
I should 100 subscribers. Yo, I mean, I know Canyon just subscribed to me, so thanks, Canyon. But
Yes,
finally hit 100 subscribers. That's tough.
AJ Sports on the come up.
Tough. Yo, bro, this guy Adam really wants to talk. Like, Adam, you're not gonna change anything. Like, you suck at fantasy. Just accept that. Oh, my back hurts. Gosh. $102 subs. Wow. Thanks, guys. So I'm actually glad I really like where I'm at right now. I'm hoping I'm gonna make a video about me leaving for boot camp. I really hope for the people that I don't know as friends and the people who are random, I really hope that they're able to stay for me. I'm gonna make a video, and I understand if you guys want to leave since I won't be uploading for 14 weeks. I completely understand that. But I'm hoping that my channel isn't dead by the time I get back, because I have been grinding this. I really have been. I mean, for fuck's sake, I uploaded 5 videos in a span of 6 hours yesterday on just straight trades, and I'm gonna upload another video or 2 talking about more trades. So that's I don't know. Like, literally, if I can just make this something I just enjoy this for fun. Like, if I can just make like a little side money, like just in college while I'm doing my thing or whatever I want to do when I'm older, and do this for fun on the side to make money. Like, that's all I can really ask for. And I don't even care about the money, bro, right now. Like, this is just enjoyable for me at this point. I actually wish I had the proper equipment to upload better videos. But when I get the check, that fat ass, it's really not that big, but that solid looking check from the army, bro, or whatever they send me, I can pinch like a certain percentage of that into a PC setup and really upload videos like that. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. So for the 7 people in here who want to know the timeline, because now that I'm basically done the podcast, I'm just kind of talking at this point. For the people who want to know what my plans are moving forward for the next few years, so my plan is to, if you guys are not aware, let's see, what is the date today? 26th. So in 3 days, I leave for basic training, boot camp. For anyone that's not aware, it's a military thing. Basically, you go in there, do a bunch of army drills. You're stationed in some place, and you kind of do your thing there, and you get out. I am stationed in Missouri for 14 weeks. I'm going to be at boot camp, learning to shoot guns, bro, and basically do army stuff. Do what military stuff does. I get back out in 14 weeks, and in that time period, I have about a month and a half to 2 months of my summer left to me, where I get to kind of settle down, relax, I'll be attending Mount St. Mary's University. For the people who don't know. Now, if I understand Mount St. Mary's is a small school, and I like the smaller school. I think that's what I need. I didn't really like going to a bigger school. Maybe I transfer, but I'm doing it for the money reasons why. It just makes sense for me to go there, to not have to pay for my college. I'm blessed for that. To not have, like, debt. If I decide to room at the Mount, I'll have some sort of debt, but it won't be a lot to where it's just so terrible. And that's kind of the big thing for me. So I'm kind of glad that I have that. I'm glad I have the connections when I get back, because I think I'll also have my simple, like, job working at some pizza place, to something basic just to sustain money. I think they said they'll bring me back when I get back, so that's kind of cool to have as well. And I'm not gonna lie, seeing Canyon, Cole, and Ollie on my stream, that's kind of nostalgic. I haven't seen you guys in a while. How you guys doing, man? How's school going for you guys? I remember you guys. Every time I talk about me being an NBA, and I never really ended up doing it. Pull up to Cali and catch a Lakers game, dude. I'm down. I'll have plenty of money to fly around the country. I'd totally be down if you're actually being serious. But yeah, it's good to see you guys. You guys interacting with old kind of buddies. I was never really close with those three. Used to be in a different group from mine, but I always talked to them in school. They were pretty cool kids. I really liked them. They're always nice to me and stuff. Even when I was acting like a jackass in class and acting like an idiot, and would copy Kenyon and Ollie and modern world history in 10th grade. I remember that. But yeah, that's just damn good times. Good times. But yeah, I think my plan is to go into sports medicine or sports management, something like that for college. I maybe have a minor in business, kind of see where that takes me. I haven't decided though if I want to room on campus. Now it kind of it doesn't really suck. And Cole was in that class too. Yeah, I forgot about that. And so I'm not sure if I want a room on campus. And this has nothing to do with COVID or not, because I'm pretty sure Mount St. Mary's is forcing everyone that is attending there to get the vaccine, which I don't want the vaccine. Not a political thing. Let's not turn this into a political thing. I just personally don't feel like getting a vaccine just because I know my mom was feeling like shit. I know my girlfriend's mom was feeling like shit, and like a lot of people were feeling like trash when they got it. But at the end of the day, I'll get it. It's nothing to. Well, I mean, I get the flu shot, so it's just another shot to keep people safe. So I'll have to get the vaccine, but like I said, it has nothing to do with COVID. It has to do with money, because if I stay at home, I thankfully have my school paid for. I think all the way. I think maybe I shouldn't. Maybe it's inappropriate for me to be sharing this information with you guys, but I don't care. I'm gonna share it with you guys because I'm bored right now. I want to talk for a little bit longer. But if I go to room at the Mount, I'm hoping Brendan or this kid named Nolan, who I play basketball with, end up going there, because that's kind of my thing. Because I try to see if I could room by myself when you get back from boot camp from summer. I get back July 16th or 17th. It's one of those two dates, but 16th or the 17th of July. Thankfully, I'm going when it's warm too, because it's not going to be freezing there. So I'm kind of glad. But basically, what I wanted to do. I'll come hoop. I'll come hoop with you guys. Just let me know. Let me know, and I'll do it. I think the big thing for me is that I'm now to the point, and I'm so glad I recognized this my senior year, and I'm kind of disappointed in myself for not recognizing it through high school. It's just like I'm now ready to go off my own. Like I wanted to see if I can get a place of my own, with a couple buddies. And if not, I wanted to try and get a dorm by myself too. And I don't think they're doing that anymore. I think during COVID, if I went to school last year, I could have. Now, obviously, I didn't want to do that. I was planning on doing FCC or trying to play basketball or somewhere, FCC, McDan, or some shit like that. And once COVID hit, I'm just like, you know what? This just isn't for me, bro. Like, it just is what it is. But the dorm sizes at Mount St. Mary's, I haven't quite seen them, but typically freshman dorms aren't really that big. They're basic. You got your desk, you got your drawers, you got your stuff, you got your bed, 2 beds, little rooms, sharing bathrooms with a couple different dorms, showers, stuff like that. But the reason why I was hoping to get a dorm by myself, which I obviously can't, was because I want to buy a legit PC setup and a legit gaming setup, because what I want to do is take my NBA stuff, my videos serious, but I need the space to do that, that is the number one concern in my dorm. It's the number one thing I only need for my dorm, and which is why I haven't decided yet. And thankfully, my admissions counselor, his name's Grant or whatever, he's doing like some special requests with the fucking Mount St. Mary's thing, where I can decide when I get back. Because typically in July, I gotta have all that stuff figured out. They're doing a special thing for me where they're gonna hold a specific dorm for me, to where if I decide to room at the Mount, it works, but if I decide to room at home, it also works. So that's kind of a cool thing. But basically, I just need to make sure that I can have a TV, a space for a TV with my future PS5. So I mean, I buy that. I'm not really pressed on getting a PS5 though. If you need help building a PC parts or whatever, let me know. I built mine last year, bro. Cole, I'm pretty sure. Okay. Here, I'm pretty sure I have you guys all on Snapchat. Cole, I'll definitely hit you up because I don't know much about PCs. Now I'm going to obviously need to research that. It's the effort that I put in is what the effort I'm going to get out of it. So I'll definitely hit you up. I have a guy who gave me a website for PC parts and how to start, stuff like that. He basically said it's like an adult version of Legos. You got to put it together, and once you figure it out, it's actually pretty fun. And so once I put in that work and put in the effort to do that, I'll definitely hit you up, because I definitely could use some help on what to expect. Because I'm not really going to use my PC for video games. I'm going to use it for NBA videos, for podcasts, because obviously playing 2K in the background for a podcast isn't the most professional way to do it. But if I could have NBA highlights behind that, NBA games, like a Game 7 Miami Heat Spurs game back in 2014 or whatever it was, 15 or whatever the year was, that would be pretty dope. Something like that. Whereas, because I have a laptop that I tried to get it to work, but it was just so laggy. It just won't work. And so I understood that. It was mainly going to use for school, but I just want to see the stuff that I download, would it work smoothly, and it just wouldn't work. But yeah, I'll definitely let you guys know. And then for gaming, I was gonna use my PS5, and basically also the new flight. I'm not even about to lie, I was about to be the new flight for gaming, just because I understand that my reactions to video games are very entertaining to people. Because I'm not good at COD like that. I mean, I'm getting better. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm not good at COD like that. I'm not good at 2K like that. But what I can do is be an entertainer for video games and use my YouTube channel to kind of promote my Twitch streaming. And so I don't expect this to go too far anywhere. I'm just gonna have fun with it and grind because I want to take this serious. But at the end of the day, I don't expect this to be much more than, I don't expect this to make a career out of this. Now, if I can make a career out of this, I would gladly do it. I'm not dropping out of college to do stuff like that. I'm not going insane like that. But if I can make a career out of this, I would love to do it. And so I think the grind starts now. I've done a really good job because I figured out what my NBA content I wanted to do. And I wish, my biggest regret was being the kid in high school that cared too much about others' opinion. That is definitely my biggest regret, because I wish I had started my YouTube channel, which I did, but I was so inconsistent uploading because I didn't want people to know that I was uploading NBA videos, and I thought I'd be embarrassed. That is easily my biggest regret, was caring too much about what people might think of me. And so that is the biggest thing, which I'm glad I recognized that my senior year. And so yeah, that's kind of what my plan is. And so for Mount, it's gonna be kind of cool rooming there. I mean, I know Shemai goes there, and he's a good buddy. He's a cool friend. I fuck with Shemai. Hopefully Brendan or Nolan or both of them go there, so I'll know more people. And I just don't see myself being like a big party person. Like I'm just like, Pat, I don't fuck with parties like that, bro. Like a typical night for me, bro, I'd rather just be playing video games and chilling and like talking in the Discord with my friends, bro. Like that's a night for me. Like I'm fine with that. So I'm pretty excited for boot camp. I'm pretty excited for college. I'm excited to see where this takes us. And the biggest benefit, the biggest benefit from doing this military thing is the traveling, because I'll be able to travel. I think my plan is, because if I'm not sure what I want to do, I'll have enough money saved up, assuming I still have my job or whatever. I have enough money to save up to basically travel the world for about a year or so, and that's something I'm really excited. Like my biggest thing is new cultures, bro. I love different types of cultures. I think one year I want to travel to Japan. I want to travel to Italy, anything in Europe. I want to travel to Brazil. Maybe not Brazil. Japan is the number one place though that I want to go there. And if people are wondering why Japan out of all the places, bro, I used to watch too much anime. I used to watch anime, bro. And every once in a while I pop into some anime. That's the only reason why. I'm not going to lie. I just like watching anime. And so I just want to go to Japan. I mean, Japan would be lit. I have a friend that literally, I kid you not, is literally has a plan that he wants to live in Japan. He's a diehard anime fan. And I don't know if it has anything to do with it. But he loves that culture and kind of like what they got going on over there. And I don't really know. But I support him fully. He's like so distant from everyone. He's already prepared to like live in his own apartment after high school. Like he's about to graduate high school. And he's already preparing himself to get his own place. And his dream place is to live in Japan and be like a designer there, like a anime thing. And I think that's so dope that like you want to move out of the country, do something totally unique than other people. I think that's so dope. So shout out to Thanos, shout out to Lucas, bro, for that one. But yeah, those are Japan, Italy, and some other place in Europe. Those are the top 3 places I kind of want to travel. I'll show you it would be dope. But basically, as long as the money works, obviously I'm gonna try and do it. So what's the stream been at now? The stream is about to hit. It's been about 2 hours that I've been streaming, so I think I'm going to kind of end it in a couple minutes. So a few announcements before I dip out for the 5 people that are actually watching this. Okay, so we got a video dropping. I might not even drop a video. No, I need to drop the lawn right video because I do think that's an interesting one. So I'm at least dropping one more trade. I might talk about a few other ones in one video of the small trades. I dropped the bigger trades yesterday, all 5 of them. But I'm gonna probably drop a video or 2 in about an hour or so or 2 before I go to Open Gym today on like the lawn right and buy at least some more trades that I missed. Depending on if I get home in time, I'll drop a recap of the games tonight. We did get the stream today, which I finally am glad we got to do this little stream. So we're gonna do that as well. Let's see. What is today? So Saturday, I got my brother's game. I'm gonna spend some time with Kayla when she gets back from Philly. Sunday, I'll be working out a ton. So yeah, okay. So yeah, we'll figure out some videos. I'll probably just let me know in the comment section, honestly, guys, if you guys have any specific videos for Saturday and Sunday. I'll do that. And then Monday morning, I also want to do my recaps, by the way. And Monday morning, I'll have a video prepared for you guys, saying basically peace out. KJ's out to fucking boot camp in Missouri, which is fucking lit. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty excited for that. I'm pretty excited for that. Not really nervous or scared. I mean, I think I know a guy that's going with me too. So I met a guy and he seemed really chill. And yeah, I think that's pretty dope. But like I said, my main concern, which I wish I went to boot camp earlier, but COVID had to delay it. I'm praying that the people that I don't know or that aren't my friends that are subscribed, which is probably like, I'm pretty sure 50 to 40%, no, like 50 to 60% of my people I know are subscribed to me. Like 60% of my friends are subscribed, which I appreciate, honestly. That other like 40% of the people I don't know and are just like, actually genuinely like give me views or genuinely might subscribe. I'm kind of hoping they stay while I'm gone. And I'm not sure how dead my channel is because I understand like my last video had 35 views. My Victor Oladipo had 130 views. My Alonzo Ball video had close to he had almost at 200. My Atlanta Hawks video had 800 views. Now consistently it typically is between 20 and 30 views. And that I'm appreciative of that. And that's why I'm hoping that it can stay within the 20 to 40s when I get back. I'm hoping my channel's just not dead when I get back. But like I said, I didn't blow up, thankfully. So there's nothing to really worry about. I'm only at 100 subscribers, and I think once I get back on the ground, when I get back, that'll be the big thing. I mean, shoot, maybe I can upload these kind of videos as I'm doing in boot camp. I'm pretty sure I get my phone at least like once a week or every 2 weeks. I can give you guys little side notes like, yo, what's going on? This is what's been going on with my life at boot camp, stuff like that. Maybe I have time for that. I mean, who knows? Ollie says, good luck, man. I appreciate Ollie. Man, good to see you, Ken, and Cole, though. I hope you guys are doing well, whatever you guys want to pursue in life. And definitely, Cole, definitely hit me up. I'll definitely hit you up on PC Parts. I'm pretty sure I have your Snapchat still. And if you guys want to come hoop, or let me come hoop with you guys, like I said, I'm always down. Yeah. With that said, though, I think that's going to kind of conclude this live stream. Thanks for the people tuning in. Always appreciative. I'm always appreciative of you guys. So yeah, I'm nothing much for me to really say. With that said, I'll see you guys later. Private KJ out.